Good morning. It is a terrific and thoughtful Tuesday, 7 January 2025. And as you can see, I am up, I am alive, I am awake, I am curious, and I'm ready to share my day with you. To the question, how am I inspired? Well, I'm inspired by my wife, for one thing. She will say something which may seem somewhat casual, off the cuff. But in fact, what she's saying is real, and I'm smart enough to listen carefully. Once upon a time, she said, I really ought to read the article completely before I make a comment. And that is one of the best advice I've had all year. Because now I read it completely, and if I am to make a comment, I will do so after reading the article completely. I'm also inspired by my ex-wife. There is this awful thing that people believe that since when you're divorced, you should also expel your ex-spouse. Nothing could be further from the truth. The fact of the matter that you're not together is usually based upon behavior, in my case, my behavior, but that does not erase all the really good things that has happened in the past or is currently happening. Another way of getting inspiration from me is through my children. Last weekend, I had a visit from my daughter Lauren, and she said something, again off the cuff, about narrating children's story. And I listened carefully. I've thought about it, and perhaps I will. I've thought about maybe something having to do with my grandchildren. How about this title for a series of books that I'll narrate? And the title would be, and this is just off the top of my head, Maya and Her Butterfly Club. That way, I could introduce different butterflies and Maya's reaction, you know, how I make it up, my make-believe reaction to Maya and Her Butterfly Club. What do you think of that? Another way that I'm inspired, and this may seem silly to you, but it is not silly to me, shadows on the wall. I live next door to a church, and on the wall, like I mentioned in a previous video, I sometimes see St. Francis of Assisi. Now, I've got to tell you, in my mind, and you need not believe me because you have to reach your own conclusions in life, in my mind, St. Francis was not so much a religious figure as he was a spiritual being who lived a life as he saw it. And not only did he live his life to what he thought was perfection, but so did the animals. The birds recognize this spiritual being that we call St. Francis, and they would visit him often. So when I see the shadow of St. Francis on the wall, it is meaningful to me. Finally, but of course this is not a complete list, is nature. I sometimes will sit and look at the birds or other animals, and I will observe their behavior. For example, yesterday's video, I shared with you the birds and how they shared the food. No fighting, no rancor, no envy, no jealousy, just sharing. And I sometimes feel that if we as spiritual beings would do the same, life would be good. So, hopefully I answered your question. You're more than welcome to visit my other Facebook site. That site, of course, is strictly for those who just want to listen to my rambling on microdacism. And that, by the way, was another suggestion. Don't put microdacism stuff on my Thoughts of a Microdac Facebook page. Isn't that a brilliant idea? So now microdacism is a separate page entirely. Okay, so that's it for today. It's a terrific Tuesday, 7 January 2025. So all you need to do is go out and do something, create something, and actually add to the beautification of the world with your enhanced activity having to do with nature.